Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the Graduate Teacher Education faculty for inviting me to share with you my topic this morning, which is on voter education and nation building. As you know, this is a very timely topic because by next year, on second Monday of May next year, 2022, May 9 to be exact, we're going to hold our presidential elections. So I was given this topic, and as an alumna of PNU, I graduated in PNU in 1994. I did not do my undergraduate in PNU, but I did my MA in social science education, MA in education with specialization in social science teaching in PNU. So I'm an alumna and a proud alumna of PNU. And once again, I'd like to thank UMPRO, the University Events Management Office, for hosting this event. And of course, also thank you to CGSTER, the College of Graduate Studies and Teacher Education Research. Okay, and so let me begin my presentation. The context. Okay, so as earlier I said that my topic this morning is very timely because next year is going to be a much awaited year because we will hold our presidential elections. And for next year, it is estimated that there's going to be 62 million registered voters who hopefully will vote. No? So there will be an estimated 62 million registered voters for the 2022 elections. And out of this 62 million, 52% comprise the youth vote, or those aged 18 to 40 years old. Okay, so medyo yun yung mas bata na yung ating mga botante. And that, according to the Commission on Elections, they expect an 80% turnout, or voter turnout. Well, normally naman, historically, it's not really a problem in the country. Voter turnout is not a problem in the country. Medyo talagang mataas pa din ang ating voter turnout. Unlike in the US, no? They really have to campaign for people to vote. But in the Philippines, I think it's one event that we all look forward to. So, estimated by COMELEC that in 2022 elections, we will have an 80% voter turnout. So it's very important to understand that context, okay? And there are, I think, estimated 112 million Filipinos. And out of 112 million, 62 million already registered or estimated to register. As of now, parang over 61 million na ang nag-register. Another things to remember, important things to remember or to know, is that in 2022, there will be 18,180 elective seats. Okay? So, politicians or candidates will vie for 18,180 elective seats. And out of this 18,180, 77 are national posts. And the 77 national posts are broken down as follows. One, siyempre, president, and then you have the vice president, and then the 12 senators, and then the 63 party list representatives. Okay, so 18,180, alisin mo yung 77, what remains will be the local seats. For the local seats, we have 253 legislative district representatives, yung tinatawag nating mga congressmen and congresswomen. Pero dapat tinatawag natin silang representatives, no? Legislative district representatives. We also do not refer to them as the lower house kasi they are co-equal. We have a bicameral legislature and they are theoretically co-equal. Okay? We have 81 governors. representing yung mga provinces of the Philippines, 81 vice governors, 782 provincial board members, 146 city mayors, 146 city vice mayors, 1,650 city councilors, 1,488 municipal mayors as well as vice mayors, 11,908 municipal councilors. And then we have the BARM, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region for Muslim Mindanao, party representatives, 40 yan sila. And then 32 BARM parliamentary district representatives and 8 BARM reserved seats and sectoral representatives. Ang dami. Ang dami nating seats, no? Elective seats up for grab next year. Oh, kailangan alam natin itong context na to. It's one complicated festival, no? Siguro what is important is to understand why do people vote the way they do. Diba? We did a research in 2013. So, pero we're just focused on the teachers' voting behavior. But according to the Institute for Political Reform, kasi this institute did the most comprehensive study on voting behavior of Filipinos, and they conducted it in 2003. So medyo luma na din, pero mukhang we can still learn from what they found out, no? Number one, there are 4 reasons why people vote the way they do. Okay, these are the parang factors affecting their voting behavior. Number one, the candidate's popularity and public image. Okay, how popular is the candidate and the public image? Is it something that is acceptable to the people or not? Is he someone acceptable, or is she someone acceptable to the people or not? Or do the people relate to this person or to this candidate? So it's very, very important, the public image. Second is endorsement of traditional networks and organizations. So in a country with more than 7,000 islands, very difficult really to campaign. So that is why machinery is very important. So you have to have access to political parties, because if you have a political party, you will have, apart from, of course, being recognized by COMELEC, and it has its own perks, no? But having a machinery down to the barangay level and in other parts of the country, or most parts of the countryside, up to the city level, and that's a plus factor. You could just imagine someone from Manila. How can you possibly be known in the different parts of the country? Sige nga. And yung advertisement in the papers or in television, very, very expensive yan. It's very expensive, and there's also a limit, no? A limit to how much a candidate is allowed to spend. So you cannot spend as much as you want to spend on your elections, right? Well, theoretically speaking, of course. No? But the thing here is you need to have a machinery, because people may not know you. People in the countryside, in the boondocks, in areas where there's no internet, it will be a great help to your candidacy if you have a machinery. Okay. Third is characteristics that can benefit the voter. So can I relate with you? Do I know you? Do I know someone who know you? Do you have a certain advocacy that I like, which I think I can benefit from? Diba? Ganun naman yun eh. The reason why we vote for people, because they share what we want. We think they can help us. They think that they can address issues that we find very problematic. We think that somehow, because of their leadership, they'll be able to improve our lives, our livelihood. So yun, characteristics that can benefit the voter. One of the factors that can make people vote for you. No? And the last factor is party program. Do I believe in what you stand for? Like if I were a teacher, well, I'm a teacher. We are teachers here. Most of the audience here are teachers. What's the candidate stance on education? Diba? On teacher welfare. Siyempre, ano yan, party program din yan eh, di ba? For instance, another program or another issue that teachers may find important would be the environment, di ba? How's your stance on the environment? Or to me, very important to me, what is important yung land use plan. Di ba? So, does this candidate or do the candidates have any particular stance on land use plan? Di ba? So, for the farmers, they may have a different expectation of the candidates, no? So, yung party program is very important. That's why yung mga party list, like yung like sa teachers, no, yung ACT, and you have TDC, and you have a teacher. Very important, no? Very important to know what their platforms are insofar as education is concerned and insofar as the teacher sector is concerned. So, yun, these four are important factors why people vote the way they do. We also have to understand yung Filipino politics, no? Kasi we have to have an understanding, and there are a lot of studies already made on the characteristics of Filipino politics, and one really stands out that Filipino politics is about relationship politics, and relationship may be based on blood. Kapatid, no? Remulla ang governor, Remulla ang representative, or Gordon, or Duterte ang presidente, Duterte ang mayor, di ba? Vice mayor, or Marcos, di ba? So, ganun eh. So, by blood. Okay. Ano ko ba sila, kamag-anak ko ba sila, lalo na in the countryside, lalo na in municipalities, no, yung mga third class municipalities, halos magkakamag-anak, no. So mahalaga yung sa Pilipino yung blood, no, yung relationship by blood. If that relationship by blood, relationship by affinity, asawa ni ganito, asawa yan ni ganun. So like the Marcoses, may si Bongbong Araneta yung asawa niya. So, may mga network ng relationship, no? So, kailangan din nating malaman yon, no? So, mga factors yan, no? Or these are factors we have to consider as we analyze Philippine politics, no? By ritual, magkumpare ba sila? Inaanak ba sa kasal? Yung anak ba ay inaanak ni ganito, di ba? Ninang, ninong. So, yun yung tinatawag na relationship by ritual. Or fraternities, no? Sa law school, very important yan sa kanila. Akila ba sila? Upsilon ba sila? No? So, apo ba sila? No? I know in the last elections, yung apo si Vice President Binay. So, yung I have friends who were members ng apo. So, apo sila. Diba? So, fraternity or yung mason, kasama na din yan. So, when you analyze relationships, you have to consider by blood, by affinity, by rituals, by fraternities, or yung masonry, social network. Member ba siya ng ganito? PDP laban ba yan? O, magkakasama sila. Pareho sila ng political parties in the past when they ran for this, when they ran for that. Or, classmates, magkaklase pala sila. So it matters, no? Magkababayan pala sila. So it also matters. So bawat Pilipino may social network yan. So when you it matters to the Filipino voter kung nasaan siya sa network, no? Para yung machinery gumana. And then religious affiliation. So we know that yung Iglesia ni Cristo, boboto yan kay ERA, boboto yan sa mga Marcoses, yun yung mga normal, no, usual na binababa dun sa Iglesia ni Cristo. Di natin alam, di ba? Marami, kahit yung El Shaddai, or JIL, or marami sa atin na yung nagmamatter yung religion, no? Si Kibuloy. So, these things we have to consider in analyzing Philippine politics, no? Celebrity status. Is he someone or is she someone you admire as an actor, as an actress, or even a sports person like Manny Pacquiao? I think Manny Pacquiao won because he gave the Philippines so much as a boxing champion, di ba? So the voters expressed their gratitude to him by electing him, di ba? As a sports person, not sportsman. So, yung celebrity status or party programs. Ano yan? Nisam, hindi kasama yan sa Makabayan Block. O hindi, ano yan? Akbayan Block yan. So, yan, nagmamatter lahat yan, no? Sana magalit sa akin, pero yun yung mga nangyayari sa ground, di ba? No? Nagmamatter yon. So, all I'm saying is, for us to understand how people vote, how Filipinos vote, you also have to understand their relationship, and their relationship, you have to parang balatan mo, no? You have to unravel the basis of their relationship. Is it by blood, by affinity, by ritual, by fraternity or masonry, social network, religious affiliation, celebrity status, and party program? So, if you understand this, magets mo agad how people might vote, how a person might vote. According to experts who have dedicated their research skills understanding what shape voters' choice, according to them, there are 4 questions that shape voters' choice. No, number 1, no, ito yung these are the questions that we answer, and then when we answer these questions, our answers influence our selection or our vote, our choice of candidate to vote for. Number 1, who among the candidates share the values that matter to the voters? Like for teachers, do these candidates share our values? Mamaya, sasabihin ko ano ba yung lumabas dun sa study namin. Second, who among the candidates can be trusted? You know, election is also a matter of trust because you don't really know them personally, right? If there's a pecking order and if you don't have an extensive network and if your social status is not as powerful and as extensive as the politicians are, as what the politicians have, it's a question of trust. Diba? It's a question of how do you trust a politician? So, you don't know them personally. Ay, mamaya, baka masagot ko yan. No? Pangatlo, who among the candidates have the personal qualities of integrity, leadership, and competence? So, mahalaga yun. Integrity, leadership, and competence. Ang 4, what is their stand on issues that matter to voters? Minsan yung number 3, hindi na rin gaanong pinapansin yan eh. Ang mahalaga, no, what's important to different types of voters, yung, can I relate with you? Can I relate with you? Because I don't know you, but can I relate with you? Diba? May lessons from cognitive science na we discovered when we were doing our review of the literature, when we were doing our research. And there are 2 things, no? According to Weston, people are driven in the voting booth by their feelings. ako, tingin ko, in the 2022 elections, no, if you're a DDS, I think you will go out and vote. If you are a BBM, o Bongbong Marcos, a loyalist, you will really go out and vote because their feelings are so intense. Ako, I don't think yung feelings for Leni Robredo is as intense, no? Pero intense din yung anti-Duterte. Meron ding mga anti-Duterte, meron ding mga yellow tard. Pero kung intense yung feeling mo, you will really go out to vote despite the pandemic. So it's really, according to Weston, people vote based on their emotion. So if you have a voter education program that addresses just the thinking part of being a wise voter without touching on the heart, I think we will fail in doing our voter education. Because according to Weston, kasi he studied the difference between how the Democrats and the Republicans vote. So according to him, the Republicans are more intense, no? They really feel it when they vote. Unlike naman the politicians, when they explain, Republican politicians, the Republican candidates, when they explain their platforms, they really use strong emotions to convince the voters to vote for them. But the Democrats, according to Weston, they tend to explain it. Their explanation always is about concepts and something abstract, some principles and all that. And not many voters respond to such. So, kasi they discovered, according to cognitive science, and Weston discovered that people vote based on their emotions. And second, lesson from cognitive science is that people rely on cognitive shortcuts. So they don't have time. They don't have time to read. People don't have time to really read the complicated materials on why we should not vote for this person, why we should vote for this person. So they use cognitive shortcuts. Ano yung mga kadalasan? What's the primary cognitive shortcut that Filipinos or people use? Pakiramdam. How you appeal, how your presence on TV, on social media, appeal to the voters. Yung pakiramdam. Anong pakiramdam ko sa'yo? So, di ba minsan, hindi ko type yan iba dating niya. So, ano yung dating? Ano yung appeal? What's your appeal to the voter? Okay? So, sabi natin, voters like that, they need to be educated. Diba? They don't vote wisely. Ganon yung, vote wisely. As if naman, there is a righteous vote, no? But according to cognitive science, hindi nga ganon. Kasi number one, people do not know all the candidates. Diba? They don't know the candidates. So sige, level of president, do we really know them personally? No. It is how their political strategists design their public image. Okay? That's the reality of elections. So, yung pakiramdam. Diba? Like si Win Gatchalian, when he ran for the first time, he won kaagad. He won as senator. Why? Kasi ang ganda ng commercial niya. It's about education and it appealed to people. Because education really appeals to the masa. Why? Because the masa think that education is ticket out of poverty. And Win Gatchalian, when he won, when he ran for the Senate, really had very powerful images and messages about him that stuck to the people. So, yun, pakiramdam. And because it guides their political decisions. So itong dalawa na to, sabi na yun ng cognitive science. Okay? Pero when you design a voter education, very analytical, and I've been doing it We did that in the past, in the 1990s. We did not accomplish much because we did not know that emotion influences the way people vote, and that people use cognitive shortcuts. O nga naman, they're busy. They're working, right? They're working. And that they don't have time. They don't even, in fact, they don't even have access to materials that could provide them with something objective truth or facts about this person, about this candidate. They just don't have time. So we have to understand that. So let us stop labeling people as bobong magboto. Hindi pwedeng ganon. Ito yung reality. Ito na yung sinabi ng science, established ng science, that people vote based on their emotions and their pakiramdam. Then they use shortcuts, cognitive shortcuts. Okay? So ito, let me just share our study, but this was in 2013. I think we will do another study after the 2022 elections next year, para it's available, no, online. You can read it. No, kanina sabi merong, di ba, let me backtrack a bit, no. Itong 4 factors na to, ito yung sabi ng Institute for Political Reform. They discovered that these 4 are the reasons why people vote the way they do. Candidates' popularity and public image, endorsement of traditional networks and organizations, characteristics that can benefit the voter, and the party program. However, ang amin namang na-discover in our studies, number 1, personal traits, yung teachers. Ito teachers, kanina general public, no? So let me personal traits. So yung teachers o tayo, no? We tend to vote for someone who has a good educational background. It's what we value. Okay, we tend to vote for people with good educational background who seem competent and intelligent. Okay, yan yung mga values ng teacher. So, tinitingnan natin sa candidates on personal traits. Second, credibility and reputation. What's the track record? Okay, and included in the track record is the family background. No? Family background kasi yung credibility ng family niya. Yung kaniyang past, yung track record, yung reputation. So we include that in the way, we consider that in the way we vote. Third is advocacy. Nilagay ko dito leeg. So these are we were able to identify 4 issues that are important to teachers. Tinawag kong leeg. Number 1 is livelihood. What's your platform for livelihood? Number 2 is education. Hindi naman to 1, 2, 3, 4, no? Nilagyan ko lang ng mnemonics na leeg para matandaan natin, no? So it is education. Of course, because we are teachers, we value education. So what's the candidate's platform for education? Number 3 is environment. So teachers, medyo na tayo, mataas na yung hinihingi natin when it comes to the environment. And 4th is good governance. So all these 4 issues, when candidates talk to teachers, candidates out there, future candidates, or if you intend to run in 2022, when you talk to teachers, talk about livelihood, education, environment, and good governance. Because these are issues that are closest to the hearts of the teachers. Okay? And definitely they will vote for you if you have these 4 advocacies. And last but not the least, ay representative of new politics. So teachers tend to vote for the younger ones, yung fresh face, but very promising. This was in 2013. Teachers voted for Risa Hontiveros, for Teddy Casino. So yung mga Bam Aquino, yung mga teachers, we voted for these people. Why? Because they represent new politics, those who are platform-based individuals who are into activism. Yan, bumoboto yung mga teachers sa mga ganyan. Okay, so itong apat na to, these are the factors that have affected how teachers voted in 2013. Okay. Ano mga potential game changers? Potential game changers sa 2022. So even if there is an estimated 80% voter turnout in 2022, COVID is still going to be a game changer. Even if now in social media, people are killing not figuratively, killing each other, debating about who's the best president, really defending the personalities that they love and they like. Okay, in social media, in Facebook, sige, in Twitter world, the millennials are really very passionate about expressing the person they will vote for in 2022. But COVID-19 is around. Will you vote? Will you go out and vote? It depends on what's gonna happen in 2022 and so far as the pandemic is concerned. Because people may think twice. So it's a game changer. But who will most likely go out despite the pandemic? So if I were a political strategist, I would look for those group, di ba? And focus on them. Kasi if you want, like I said, if you're a political strategist, it's not really about political education, but it's political strategy. No? So that's going to be one of my areas of concern. Number 2, trolls. Trolls will be game changers. The best trolls, the most strategic trolling will definitely influence who to vote for in 2022. Diba? And we know that. Number 3 is proxy war. What is this proxy war? I think the Philippines is a very strategic. The West Philippine Sea issue is very strategic for both China and the United States. I do not know if China and the US will meddle in the 2022 elections. No, siguro mag-conspiracy theory ako. Pwede, di ba? If I were China and I have invested so much in the country, would I give, what will I do, or should I do something to ensure that a pro-China president will get elected? I mean, dumi lang ang isip ko, but it's a legitimate issue. It's a legitimate question. Will Australia or will the US allow that? In the past, powerful countries have meddled in our elections. Will 2022 be any different? So yun yung tinatawag na proxy war. Parang it's about China and the US. They may be, or they might use the Philippine elections as a proxy war for their own war. Fourth, it's still a digital elections. I looked at the website of COMELEC, and they will have a test run of elections via the internet. I don't know if it is feasible in 2022, no? Or even if we will still go out, it's still an automated elections. So if I were COMELEC, no, just like in the US when they did their elections, yung pwede kang mag-send, di ba? Mag-send lang ng form mo, no? I don't know what's going to happen in the country. Kasi if COVID-19 will continue to ravage the country, will our elections be a casualty by COVID-19? And so our Commission on Elections should be thinking outside of the box. No, if we have online classes, can we have online elections? Okay, and if we hold online elections for the first time, what are the risks? Okay, will our vote be fully protected? So digital elections will also be a game changer in 2022. And last but not the least, will still be the machinery. How massive is the machinery, down to the city level, the barangay level, because not everyone has social media, not everyone has access to the internet, not everyone has access to the television, no? So it's important that whoever the candidates are, it's important for them to have people in the different parts of the country and at different levels, political levels or political units, no, like city level or barangay level. The barangay is a critical unit to deliver the votes. Okay, to deliver the votes. Community organizing, which is part of the machinery, is going to be very critical. And apart from that, the included in this machinery is the new ecosystem of digital machinery as well. Pasok naman dun troll farm and how they will optimize digital tools to position their candidates. Okay. So, ayoko munang manghula, no? Ayoko magsabi, I don't want to talk about who my candidate is going to be, who I will vote for, because it's too early. All I'm saying here is when you speak of voter education, there are two, according to cognitive science, there are two factors affecting the way we vote, yung emotion and yung cognitive shortcuts. And if I were a political strategist of this particular candidate, we have to factor that in the political strategy. Okay, and I'm happy that in our study of teachers' voting behavior, medyo maganda yung lumabas sa teachers because what are the factors influencing teachers? Yung personal traits. Kasi yung emotion ng teacher, value niya yung education, no? Yung tingin niya competent, no? Maganda bumoto yung teacher, in other words, no? Yung credibility and reputation, yung advocacy. Diba? Ang gandang bumoto ng teacher. And teachers have multiplier effect. Sabihin mo, tanong mo sa akin, kung maganda naman bumoto pala mga teachers, na-translate ba yan sa mga estudyante? Bakit hindi na-translate? Dahil the general public, seemingly, the general public has not voted the way teachers do or did, no? Kasi ang explanation, look at the dropout rate in the country sa mga estudyante. Kasi sabi nung one of the research articles that we included in our study, yung education, as you go up the education ladder, you also increase your political sophistication. And so if you get out of the system, drop out of the system early on, lower grades pa lang, you drop out of the system, you do not have the benefit of that kind of education to acquire political sophistication. Kasi I believe that the teachers, the way they voted in 2013 showed a certain level of political sophistication. Okay? So, ano ang masabi ko? We have to ensure that the Filipino youth are in school. Okay? That at a very young age, we also already expose them to civic education. Diba? We don't have civic education in our curriculum. Very weak yung civic education curriculum. Okay? Ako, I'm in favor of having social studies in grades 5 and 6. But it doesn't, Philippine history in grades 5 and 6. But it doesn't mean that, I'm happy with our junior high school social studies curriculum. Okay? So, we just have to keep our Filipino learners in school, because when they are in school and as they go up the ladder, they will acquire the political sophistication necessary to vote the way teachers voted in 2013. Kasi there is a degree of political sophistication. Maganda yung naging behavior. No? Unfortunate, by the way, another, when we did the survey, the survey of the literature, we also discovered that voting behavior also changes over time. So that is why I am interested in finding out whether the teachers would still vote the same as they did in 2013 in 2022. Okay po. So sa akin, what is important, yung voter education is not a one-shot deal. No? Okay, it's election time in 2022, then let's conduct voter education. No, it's non-stop continuing formation of the Filipino citizen as a responsible voter, as an active citizen. Okay, for our democracy to thrive, we need to develop active, responsible, productive citizens. And to be a citizen, you have to vote. You have to vote. And to be able to vote wisely with such political sophistication, we have to develop in our Filipino learners that shared and clear vision of the country we want to build. And this is not the job alone of social studies teachers, of values education teachers, but all teachers have this difficult job, difficult but exciting job, and difficult but fulfilling job of developing citizens who have clear vision of the kind of Philippines we want to build. Okay? So, marami pong salamat. Ito lamang po ang aking maibabahagi sa inyo. At kung meron kayong mga katanungan ay pagkatapos po nito, ay pwede kayong magtanong at aking sasagutin. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat.